Compass acquired Anywhere Real Estate, and how does that affect the entire real estate landscape? What that means to me is everybody should be running for the hills. So I'm going to give you an example, and I'm going to break it down with some basics. The first thing, I actually was at a brokerage that was also acquired by Compass back in 2018. I noticed that there was some odd things happening in that brokerage, and I decided to make my own. I even built my own brokerage that was a luxury brokerage to directly compete with it, and I held that for 4 years. My name is Garth Ward. I have been in this industry for 13 years. I've helped train thousands of agents. I've sold over $1 billion worth of real estate in that time, and I'm here to help educate you guys on exactly why I'm at where I am and the future landscape of real estate brokerage as a whole. If you're interested in having a deeper conversation, or you want to potentially see what it looks like to partner with me or get coached by me, click the link in the description below and let's have a conversation about what that could potentially look like. Without further ado, let's hop straight into the subject of today. With Compass taking on the largest owner and largest holder of traditional real estate brokerages, that gives us an even larger consolidation of traditional brokerages. What does Anywhere Real Estate actually own? They're buying it for billions of dollars, but what does that mean? That means that Compass will effectively now be Compass, Sotheby's, it will be Coldwell Banker, Corcoran, it will also be Better Homes and Gardens, Century 21, all sorts of smaller companies wrapped into that as well. The future of that is quite plain. It means that all traditional brokerage is likely to be absorbed by this style or this larger entity, because there are no checks and balances in this business. For whatever reason, I do not think there's going to be any halting them by way of monopolizing or anything like that. Because of that, I see that Compass likes to lead with debt. They've done that since the beginning. They have been non-profitable since the start. Anywhere was on the market to be sold in the first place because of their non-profitability. That being said, the rumors before Compass purchased Anywhere was that they were going to purchase Berkshire, which probably would have made more sense from a branding perspective, but the realities are these. Berkshire is non-profitable. Every publicly traded brokerage other than EXP has been non-profitable for years. That's not sustainable. Every new brokerage that's being created is more like a copy of what EXP is trying to do, and they are basically a shell of what EXP has already created because they had speed to the market and a better vehicle and a better platform. That being said, with all of these industry changes, I think there is only one outcome that we will find. And that outcome is fairly basic. We're going to see one brokerage that has controlling interest in almost all legacy or traditionalized brokerage models, and that will start to dwindle. It will start to get smaller because you can only carry debt without profitability for so long. The other side of things is the non-traditional brokerage or the virtual brokerage models that actually offer you better splits, better compensation, stock incentives, and potential revenue share options and things like that. All of the new ones are those. Those will not all win either. In a landscape where 30% of the industry is leaving and has already left, in a landscape where 71% of real estate agents haven't sold homes in over a year, we have to acknowledge a couple things. The first thing is that there is probably too many brokerages that exist. If you're a real estate brokerage owner, you probably should not be competing in this landscape with lawsuits being rampant and everything else. I've been sued twice when I owned my real estate brokerage. I happened to win both of them. They were both frivolous, but I can tell you that will completely destroy your profitability for a year or two or 4, just by way of a frivolous lawsuit. If that's you, let's have a conversation. Click a link in the description below. When we see these consolidations, and I I will say this is a prediction. All traditionalized brokerages will either shift to the new model, make large overtures towards that shift, or they will be absorbed by something that is a large holding asset like a Compass that is purchasing all of these companies. It will have to go down that way, especially unless we start to see real estate brokers do and produce more transactional volume. If we don't, we're going to basically see a power struggle between a couple different ideologies inside of the business as a whole. I personally believe that the ideology of the virtual will win. They give more to the agent. They give more options to the agent. They give the ability to have ownership in the brokerage that you work at to the agent. And yes, some might argue that Compass is allowing for stock availability and things like that. But it's not very valuable when the company itself, right when they gave those stock options, lost substantial amounts of money. I think that to properly expand, your model should do so by its own merit. You should not have to go and purchase more brokers. The reason they have to purchase them is because they would not come by their own fruition. If you're an agent that's getting absorbed by this company, it's something you have to consider. If you want to be able to take hold of where you are going to be, where you're going to be licensed, I would argue the most important thing that you can do today is brand yourself. Because people will not consistently choose their real estate brokers and their representatives based off of the color of the sign, because the people are going to become wise to this. They're going to start to understand that Century 21, Sotheby's, Better Homes and Gardens, Compass, all of these places are the same with different colors. The only thing that we're going to see is a consolidation of the technologies, and they're going to try to make it more profitable by having them operate the same systems and processes. When that happens, you will see a lot of infighting. When that happens, it'll be a lot more difficult for you as the agent to create your own brand identity. If you're trying to build your own brand identity, you have to be aligned with a company that not only allows for that, but supports it. And that's what we do here. We allow for it to be pushed. We believe that agents should have their own brand. And we at our organization, at the Wolfpack and Park Place, we actually help you find the right people to help you build that brand, connect you with the highest quality tactile materials, and then you're going to get compensated substantially more money in the end for doing the same amount of work. If your goal is long-term in this business, your goal is to eventually retire out of this business and not just expire, let's have a conversation. I know this has been a very direct message today, but that's because the landscape of the brokerage shifts require us to be direct. Is this calamity in this industry? No. But is it the start of the largest mergers and acquisitions structures that we will ever see and the largest agent transferings of brokerages that we will ever see? Probably. Outside of the agents that are running for the hills because they don't want to compete in the market center that forces them to actually sit here and build a business and sell houses instead of just clicking a few buttons on the internet, we will see mass agent migration. If you're an agent that is struggling with what to do and you're thinking maybe you will start your own brokerage, I'm here to urge you to not do that. I did that. And I was ultimately fairly successful at doing it. I built 4 offices, 137 agents in just 4 years. That's a less than 1% chance of doing that. And most people should not start a brokerage. And I'm going to say this, and this is going to sound a little bit candid to everybody, but not everybody should become a real estate agent. It is a business. It is a hard business. You have to hold yourself accountable and you have to be able to work every single day. If that is not you, this is not the business for you. Now, if you are a good sales agent, that does not mean you will run a successful brokerage. Those are two very vastly different enterprises. Running a brokerage is not the same. What I will tell you emphatically is if you start a real estate brokerage and you're a team leader and you're considering it, your income will go down. You will start to have to equate your total income with the income of your brokerage. You will pour so much time and effort and attention into agents that your personal production and your team's production will go down. When that happens, inevitably, you will say, when I get to this many agents, then I can retire out of the sales game. When I get to this many agents, I can retire out of the sales game. And that number is substantially higher than you realize. It is probably closer to 300 to 500 agents before you can even consider it. And then it's a non-sellable asset because it's not worth hardly any money. That's the realities of that business. And I'm here to tell you, I've done the evaluations, the income evaluations of several real estate brokerages that have ultimately decided to come join our organization because I understand what you're doing. I understand what you're getting yourselves into. And I understand if you already own the brokerage, what you're probably charging, what your profitability is, what your margins are. And if you're padding your margins, you have to be honest with yourself. If you're looking at things and you're adding into your income your own personal sales, you can't do that. You're adding into your income the fact that you're getting 50/50s on leads that you're handing to the agents. You can't do that. You have to look at it from the brokerage perspective. What are you getting from your splits and your fees alone? Subtract out your liabilities. You have to have a manager. You have to have admin. You have to have technology. If you do not have those things, you cannot call yourself a brokerage. You can, but it's more or less a team that you're running. It's a glorified team. And I would say this, when I ran my brokerage, I was a little bit arrogant and cocky and egotistical. You have to be to start a brokerage, to be honest. And the reality is this, the second that you become a little bit more humble, you'll have to realize this, that you do not know everything. You do not know, and you are not the expert in every single facet of the business because it is such a behemoth of a business. To say that you are the commensurate professional in each one of the facets that your agents could potentially ask you about is lunacy. It is. And when I sat back and I realized that, I said, I need to make partnerships with all of the best people in different things so that I could create a value stack that would be extremely diverse and effective in helping to train the new generation of agents. If that's you, let's have a conversation. Click a link in the description below. No obligation, and I won't ever tell anybody that we have that conversation. I'm excited to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section. I know there's going to be a lot of animosity back and forth, but here's the ultimate reality. I want all real estate agents that want to pursue this business to win. I want all owners to do well. I just want the best for them. And in my heart of hearts, I understand that partnering with us can be that potential option. That's all for today. I'll see you guys on the next one.